Penguin Random House Audio presents Lessons, My Path to a Meaningful Life by Gisele Bündchen. Read for you by Soneela Nankani, with an introduction read by the author.
This book is dedicated to Vivi, Benny, and Jack. Thank you for your love, for being the light of my life, for being the most incredible teachers, and allowing me to travel on new roads, discovering deeper meanings and purpose. You are my inspiration every day to do all I can to make the world a better place. Amo vocês. Introduction. If my intention was to write a straightforward chronicle of my life so far, the fast-cut version might go like this. My name is Gisele Bündchen. I've worked as a fashion model for the past 23 years. I was born in 1980 and grew up in Horizontina, a small town in southern Brazil, an hour from where you cross the river to enter Argentina. I'm fifth-generation Brazilian of German descent on both sides. My parents spoke German with each other and Portuguese to my 5 sisters and me. I'm a middle child, and as kids, my twin sister Pachi and I used to argue about which one of us was the third or the fourth in age. When I was growing up, I wanted to be either a professional volleyball player or a veterinarian. When I was 13 years old, my mom, who worried about my bad posture, I was already 5 feet 9 inches tall, enrolled 2 of my sisters and me in a local modeling course. At the end of the course, we got to go on a special trip to Curitiba, São Paulo, and Rio de Janeiro. The bus ride there felt endless, 27 hours long. Some of the mothers came with us, including mine. At a São Paulo mall, a man came up to me with a classic, creepy guy line. "Do you want to be a model?" "Mom!" I yelled, and over she ran. But he, Zeca was his name, was for real, a scout for the elite model management. When we went to his office, he told my mom she should enroll me in a national contest, Elite Look of the Year, and so she did. I couldn't believe it when I won second place, which came with a round-trip plane ticket to Ibiza, Spain, so I could model in the Elite Model Look World Contest. It was my first time on a plane, my first trip outside Brazil. Somehow I ended up as one of the 10 finalists. Everything was happening so fast. A year later, in 1995, I moved to São Paulo to launch my modeling career. I was 14. As you can imagine, moving from a small town of only 17,000 people to the largest city in Brazil was a big change. After I spent a few months working in São Paulo, the agency sent me to Tokyo, Japan, where I lived for 3 months doing catalog work. My first big break came a few years later in London, when the designer Alexander McQueen selected me to model in his ready-to-wear show. I went down the runway without a shirt, petrified, a white top painted on at the last minute by a makeup artist, as artificial rain poured down from the ceiling. After the Alexander McQueen show, the industry gave me a nickname, The Body, which stuck. In 1999, I modeled for Versace, Ralph Lauren, Chloe, Missoni, Valentino, Armani, and Dolce & Gabbana. Vogue magazine chose me to represent the end of the heroin chic era of modeling. That year, I was on the cover of French Vogue and 3 times on the cover of American Vogue. The headline on one feature story was, "The Return of the Curve." I ended that year winning Vogue's Model of the Year award. In spring 2000, I modeled for Marc Jacobs, Donna Karan, Calvin Klein, Christian Dior, Prada, Valentino, and many other well-known brands in New York, Milan, and Paris. From 1998 to 2003, I appeared in every one of Dolce & Gabbana's fashion campaigns, and from 2000 to 2007, I was one of the Victoria's Secret Angels. In the past 20 years, I've appeared on 1,200 magazine covers, 450 fashion editorials, and walked nearly 500 fashion shows. I deliberately took a step back from modeling in 2015, as I wanted to focus more on my family and personal projects. The last time I walked on a runway was during the opening of the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio. I came down the longest runway I've ever been on, while a pianist played Tom Jobim's The Girl from Ipanema. It was electrifying. It felt like the culmination of everything that had gone before. All of that happened, though I left out all the details. It's the story of the public me, but the life I've lived in public has very little connection to who I really am, or what matters most to me, or what I believe in and want to give back to the world. The irony is that, though I'm known for my work as a model, I never felt that the person on the runway or in magazines and TV commercials was me. In school in Brazil, I'd been mocked by my classmates for my height and my weight and my appearance. I don't believe any level of success as an adult completely changes how you saw yourself as a child. So when I began modeling, even though I supposedly had a model's physique, I felt awkward. It didn't help my confidence when some people in the business told me that my eyes were too small and my nose and boobs were too big. At age 14, nothing felt more unsettling or made me feel more self-conscious than a designer telling me I was pretty or a photographer telling me how to stand, or an editor commenting on my body or my breast or my eyes or my nose as if I weren't even in the room. That's why, starting around the age of 18, in an effort to protect myself and to avoid getting hurt or feeling objectified, I created a shield around myself. The private me was Gisele, but the model Gisele was her. That's what I called her too, her. She was an actress, a performer, a chameleon, a made-up character expressing the fantasy of a designer. I showed up at the job. I learned what the photographer wanted, what the stylist wanted, what the makeup artist wanted. Their ideas came together to create a mood, and suddenly I could see her. Modeling was a way for me to explore all the colors of my personality, including ones I didn't know I had. As she or her, I could act out any emotion, any attitude. It was as if by detaching myself, I could be free, while keeping the real me hidden and safe. She could be sexy or demure. She could be a soldier or a brazen woman. She could be a face or a body somewhere in between. Modeling had never been my dream. Growing up, I didn't even know it was an actual profession. I simply saw what was happening to me as an opportunity to make a living. Doors opened, first one, then another, and I walked through them. There was a practical component to it as well. As a child, I had heard my parents arguing about money. I thought if I tried out modeling and maybe even got good at it, I might be able to help our family. So I decided to take the opportunity I was being offered and see what might become of it. But instead of writing about her, I want to focus on who I am. So in this book, I've laid out the lessons that have helped me live a more conscious and joyful life, inspire me to overcome challenges I faced over the years, including panic attacks, and giving me a deeper understanding of myself and the world around me. Some of these lessons I've learned the hard way, through personal experience. Others I learned through watching others over the years, and concluding what not to do and how not to act. Each of the chapters in this book has stories taken from my own experiences, illustrating my learning process and what was happening in my life at the time. I've had many teachers along the way too. I've discovered that nature is the most powerful teacher and healer. I've learned to pay attention to my inner voice, which has given me many important insights, even when I didn't want to listen. I've learned that our thoughts, words, and actions are all connected, and why we need to be careful with them. I began nourishing my body, mind, and spirit through meditation, healing foods, and a positive outlook, and as a result, was able to experience a deeper clarity and greater sense of purpose.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?